Hello, hello, hello. If you guys would share this out, this is impromptu. I'll turn down my sound. Thank you very much. Thank you, Constantine, Trump Gallery, Treasure, River Bully, Calendula, 33 Rule, Lemon Tree for Tree. You like the name. Anyway, this is very impromptu. I seen that the rally is on that Chris Odette helped set up down in Austin, Texas. If you guys know Chris Odette, he is an angel dad. Lost his 13-year-old daughter, Krisha Odette, 18 months after he lost his wife, her mother, to breast cancer. Krisha was run over by an illegal alien who was driving on a suspended license and just under the legal limit, and he's on the run right now. So he's not getting the response that he needs to get from his congressman, and so he's taking the battle to them, as well he should. Anyway, giving some time for some folks to get in. But this is how we win, right, guys? This is how we win. We battle daily. We fight for every single inch. And that's going to be my battle cry. Fight for every inch for our president from now until 2020. So while I'm waiting for folks to get in, share it out, get a few more people, I'm going to go ahead and play a little. I did not size anything. I didn't do anything that I needed to, like I would do on pre-show prep, because I wanted to get in here quick. We will be on a slight delay, but that's going to be all right. Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks for sharing it out. Almost there. This video brought to you by the one and only Slider Blaze 2.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you.
You can stay here with the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. You'll find out life's this game of inches. The margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch in any fight. It's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch. You got to look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're going to see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're going to see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals.
All right. I will go right into the rally as far as the point, as far back as they'll let me go. So it is behind the live feed. I appreciate you stopping in, checking it out.
Support the president and border security, doesn't do anything else. Part of it condemns him for separation of families. But this was passed, and Lieutenant Governor Patrick was saying he supports that resolution. You know, it's a good thing because we have a serious problem here. And he reported that 299,000 crimes were committed between 2011 and 2019 in the state of Texas alone. So you figure 8 years in the has any need to be involved in trying to enforce our border security? Here's another statistic. It's written down here. Department of the Federal Bureau of Prisons reported that between 2010 and 2016, they had incarcerated 33,000 illegal aliens in the U.S. for one specific crime: murder. Trying to get your mind around that one and think about if the people that they killed, if they only killed one person, that's potentially 33,000 angel families in a 16-year time span. You don't hear about a lot of names. You don't hear about a lot of people that have been killed. But it's true. These families are all suffering. Some don't feel like they want to talk about it. They don't want to be politicized. I spent 12 years in the military. I got out because my daughter's death. I expected and I believed firmly that the government surely will do their job. They will protect us. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. And here it is, 5 years later, the man has never been convicted or been charged, even charged with killing my daughter. Instead, he was given a ticket when, after already proving 4 years prior, he wasn't going to answer that ticket. I found this year, doing my own research, not asking anyone else, doing my own research, that he bought a property. He actually bought property in Texas. And he's claiming exemptions for that property for farming. He's getting a tax break on his property, living in Texas, about 15 miles away from where he was living when he killed my daughter. But that's okay, because, you know, it's a stressful thing to have to pay high property taxes and put your kids through school, even though you murder a child. My apologies. Kill a child. I can't say murder because he could sue me. Even though he kills a child. So, again, you have to ask, where is our governor in this? What is he doing? Since SB 4 was passed, which is essentially supposed to go after cities in the state of Texas that are not reporting illegals to immigration, since SB 4 was passed, he really hasn't said much. He hasn't done much. You know, and Governor Abbott was in an accident years ago. He was injured and lost the ability to walk. He sued for justice. So where is the justice for my daughter, Krisha? She was 13. She just started high school. She had buried her mom 15 months prior. She did not get to graduate. She did not get to go to college as she wanted. She's never getting married. I'm never going to see grandkids. The accident report said, the doctor told me that they believe she died instantly. The accident report said that she had blood coming out of her ears, her nose, and her mouth when they found her. They couldn't start her heart. Her death certificate said she took minutes to die. It was an instant. I couldn't have her casket open and clear for people to say their respects to her before they, because her neck had been broken and part of her skull was crushed in, and they couldn't properly dress her so it wouldn't be traumatizing to the children that were going to be at her funeral. When my daughter was taken in for her cremation, I noticed a bruise on her leg that matched the dent on a picture that was taken of the vehicle that the guy killed my daughter with that he had already gotten back. He had a dent on his bumper from hitting my daughter, and weeks later he was already driving the truck he killed her with. Immigration Code 8 USC 1324 states that if someone is here in the country illegally and they kill someone or severely injure them, that they're to be remanded in jail for an undetermined amount of time, and anything they own is to be confiscated. And yet he had the vehicle that he killed my daughter with weeks after my daughter's death. This bill that I asked to be put into law to catch not just illegals, but legal citizens in the U.S. driving on the roads without a license and killing somebody seemed to be pretty common sense. You know, if you don't have drugs in your system or alcohol in your system and you're driving without a license, you kill somebody, you should be held accountable. But John Whitmire doesn't believe that. Of Houston, longest sitting senator. The problem is not left or right. It's not Republican or Democrat. It is a moral problem through the entire nation. But Texas and Governor Abbott, you are the leader of the state of Texas. You have the largest piece of real estate along the entire border. And for you not to be willing to enforce, pass laws, you're not doing your job. You have got to declare an emergency state of legislation and start passing laws to protect American citizens. And it has to include not being allowed to employ anyone here illegally. There should be a felony charge for any company, any person that does that. There should be a felony charge for anyone renting property or leasing property or selling property to someone here illegally. There should be a felony charge for anyone that allows someone to use a vehicle that is here illegally. The guy that was the vehicle that he was driving, it was said that he was borrowing the vehicle. The policeman said that he told them he was borrowing it. 2 months after my daughter's death, they said they basically knew he owned it because the original owner said that he bought it from him a year prior, and yet he still carried insurance on it. But the guy couldn't put it in his name because he didn't have a valid license. So that man that loaned that vehicle should be included and should be charged with a felony for aiding an illegal alien. This has to stop. And Governor Abbott, you're not doing your job. I will say this loud and clear. Governor Abbott, declare an emergency legislation and actually work on this. Meet with me. Meet with these other angel families. I've seen no news conferences, no press with you meeting a single angel family. My email request back in January asking you to meet with me has still gone unanswered. Meet with us and work with us and pass legislation under an emergency session, or I will do my damn best to find as many people as possible to get you out of your office. You do not deserve to lead Texas or any other government position if you cannot do your basic job. Thank you. Danny, I would love for you to speak. Share your story. This man, these families, all of them, they have problems right now. They have their problem is right now in the courts, in the state courts. They are fighting for the justice I have never been given. They need your help, Governor Abbott. Lieutenant Governor Patrick, they need your help. You should be doing your job. Danny.
Thank you, Chris. My name is Dan Ferguson. I'm from El Paso, right on the front lines. This is my beautiful daughter. She was killed on Thanksgiving Day, crossing the street in a crosswalk with a green light by an illegal alien who didn't have a driver's license, didn't have no insurance, was out drinking, and he ran 2 red lights and killed my daughter instantly. He was previously found violating his visa, was deported back to Mexico. He re-entered the country illegally again. He was arrested for aggravated assault placed in jail, and allowed to bond out within 6 hours, thus getting back on the streets, going on a drinking spree, and killing my daughter. You know what Governor Abbott doesn't understand is that, you know, I'm one of hundreds of parents that have lost their children to people who should not be here. You know, I've been told that, well, an American could have been drinking and killed your daughter. That's possible. But this problem should have been solved when this man was arrested for aggravated assault. All they had to do was make one phone call to ICE, and they would have taken this guy and put him in jail on a detainer or sent him back into Mexico. But no, they let him back on the street, thus killed my daughter. They wouldn't even let me see my daughter when she was killed. Her body was, she had 8 broken bones in her legs, 10 broken ribs, punctured lung, 5 skull fractures. This guy never stopped to try to render aid. He left the scene. They found the car 2 blocks away. They finally tracked him down, so, you know, he's in jail right now. The most he can get on our penalty system is 20 years. That's if he gets the maximum, and that, which means in 10 years he'll be eligible for parole, which means that he'll be back in the street. My daughter was 28 years old. She was a school teacher. She was a 6th grade school teacher. All her kids miss her tremendously. She was my wife's best friend, my son's best friend, and she was my angel. Now, you know, the collateral damage is there. My family has been destroyed. These families behind me have been destroyed. Nothing is happening. When they talk about tearing down the wall, what's your solution then? What's your solution when you're going to let hundreds of thousands of people in our country? How is our medical system going to support it? How is our educational system going to support it? How's the welfare system going to support it? I'm a teacher. My daughter is a teacher. My wife's a teacher. My son's a teacher. You know, we did it right. It's not aliens that we're against. It's the illegal side of the coin we're against. Legal aliens make the country great. But we have laws that need to be enforced, and the laws are on the books. They just need to enforce them. And that's all I wanted to say. If they made one phone call, my daughter would have been alive today. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate all of you showing up to listen to our stories, be able to take them and share them. My name is Mike Robinson. My wife, Deborah, is with me today. We are from the Midwest. We came down to Texas after my retirement because we wanted to get away from the spread of the government of Illinois' corruption spreading into Iowa. Plus, I'm not a big fan of snow. There was no point in being retired to shovel snow. So, we decided to come to Texas. My daughter, my grandson, my son-in-law, my wife's 2 sisters were here. So it was kind of like a very long family reunion. Well, on May 14th, 2016, our family reunion took a turn for the worst. Got up Saturday morning, doing my regular routine with getting on amateur radio and doing a net call for the folks through Central Texas, in Oklahoma, Louisiana, New Mexico. Got a phone call from a person I would never have heard from otherwise. Didn't know this guy. He was a PR man for a hospital in Arlington, Texas. And he asks if I was so-and-so, and I said, yeah. How do you know my name? He said, well, we have your daughter here. And at the same time, my wife got a call from another individual in the same hospital, and she comes running into my Radio Shack, and she's got this puzzled look on her face. I give her my puzzled look. And we're being informed that our daughter had been in a very severe automobile accident, and that we should most likely come on up to the hospital. So we packed up, headed up to Arlington, got to the hospital to find my daughter on life support. They put her on life support to buy us time to get there to say our final goodbyes. She had every bone in her body broken from the hips up. We watched her bleed out through her skull in a hospital. No chance for survival. We watched this for several hours. My grandson was there, and he just didn't understand why Mom wasn't coming home tonight. Broke my heart. So, the son-in-law survived
Wow.
the accident, very badly injured. We didn't know if he was going to survive. He was in another hospital. They transported my daughter to the closest one. They had revived her at the scene because she was technically DOA at the accident and took her to the closest hospital. So, with nobody to make the decision fell upon us. Do we continue on life support, knowing that she's probably never going to survive it, eventually would pass anyway? So we made the decision to cut off the life support to see if she could make it on her own. She did not. So now we have to explain to the son-in-law why his wife won't be coming home. He's in another hospital over in Fort Worth. Very serious injuries. We don't know if he's going to make it. And eventually he did. He was broken from the waist up, broke every one of his ribs. He has a wire cage around his rib cage now. And I'm sure that he still suffers from the injuries, although we rarely get to see him or my grandson. The fallout from all of this is our in-laws are not being very cooperative as well, which adds to the pain. But my message here is going to be short. I'm not here to place blame on anybody other than the perpetrator that hit the rear end of their parked car at 65 miles an hour plus, nearly tearing the vehicle in half. He took him to the hospital, patched him up, and then he was arrested on multiple outstanding warrants. When they got him to the jail, they found him to be in possession of a controlled substance. That's a felony. He was able to bond out for $2,500. He went home. We continued to get no answers from the city of Arlington, the county of Tarrant. So we eventually had to take matters into our own hands and put them on notice that they either round this guy up and charge him or they were going to be held accountable. Well, they finally did about 6 months later. And currently he is in a prison here in Texas. He's up for parole this year. The initial sentence was for 6 years. 6 years for taking a life. Now, I still can't wrap my head around that. I just can't do it. So you know where we're going to be when the hearing comes up for his parole. And they're probably not going to like what I have to say, but that's okay. We're not placing blame. We're just here to pass on a message that this invasion across our international borders, north and south, is real. And it's going to get worse unless we put party politics aside and do what's right for the people that put you there in the first place. The U.S. Constitution gives us the power to put you where you are. It also gives us the power to take you out of where you are. If you're not serving the constituents for which you represent, then you need to be removed. Congress of the United States of America, you need to give your president the ability to send our military to the borders and plug these holes.
Amen.
Until the wall is finished.
That is right.
I belong to a patriot group that spends a lot of time on the New Mexico border. I've been there. I've seen the trafficking. If you watch the news, you'll find out that our unit commander is in a federal prison right now awaiting his trial. He has been brought up on charges that were dropped 40 years ago because we are so effective in helping the Border Patrol at that border that the cartel has put a price on his head, as well as other people on the border that are there for the purpose of aiding Border Patrol and stopping the invasion. Now, I don't know how you all feel about that, to have an innocent man locked up for protecting your rights, protecting your border, protecting your families. But if I were you, I would be very outraged, and I would, if you're a New Mexico resident, I would be working my backside off to have your governor brought to task.
Wow. That's not how that story was
Put all the
presented.
party politics aside. Let's get America back to being secure. Let's have these people coming across the border continue to come, but let's make sure that they're here for the right reason. Have them come through legally. Have them bring their skills. Have them bring their culture. But make them part of America the right way. Because coming across the wrong way just spells trouble for us in the future. We either stop that at the border or we're going to deal with it in our own backyard. Now, you people need to make the choice. That's my message to America. That's my message to the governor. That's my message to Congress of Texas and the United States. Now, I often make the comment that I think that I was born at the wrong place in the country because I really feel like I should have been born in Texas, just based on my ideals. You know, Texas are proud people. They have a right to be. They've been down this road before and came out victorious. Let's do it again. That's my message, and thank you all for coming.
I just want to say a few things in regards to the driver. When I was fighting the 6 months to get this man charged, they gave me every excuse they could come up with as far as the speed. They couldn't find him. The one thing that really, really bothers me is they told me on one message when I was talking to the DA that they wanted my daughter's blood toxicology. And I asked them why, because she was a passenger. And so I turned it around and I said, did you blood tox this man because you found cocaine on him? And they point blank said they didn't feel it was warranted to do a blood tox after he killed Michelle on the highway. They didn't feel it was warranted. The other thing I want to mention is...
That's bullshit.
You know, I helped raise my grandson, and I always taught him that there was consequences for your actions. And I still fight to explain all of this to him because I don't feel there was any consequences except for the loss of his mother.
Yeah, he feels the consequences.
The last thing I want to say is we're
They
standing
feel it.
here across the street from Governor Abbott's residence, and why does he have a wall around his home?
Yeah, go figure.
Do we not deserve the same thing? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
It's just fucking tragic, man.
Please come.
This is like 4 or 5 families out of
Jared Vargas's aunt. No,
tens of thousands.
My name is Tom Sheppy. This is my wife, Kim. Last year, nephew Jared Vargas, was murdered by an illegal alien, which totally was a preventable crime. Guy came into this country illegally, lived in San Antonio, Bexar County. He had committed a crime before that. He was picked up in Bexar County. He'd used the truck that he was driving, that he owned, to try to run down somebody. He's never really convicted for that. He was picked up again. Nothing happened. Never deported. He had been in ICE custody once before. Nothing really happened.
Please
He
share.
got a job at a very exclusive high-end shopping center in the Rim in San Antonio. So this restaurant, they hire him. They don't vet him out. They don't do a background check. I've been a small business owner since 2007 here in Texas, in San Antonio, and now here in Austin. I've never hired an illegal alien. I'm not going to. I follow the laws. It's real simple that you don't do that. There's always been penalties. I don't believe in it. I don't care if you're a construction company, a roofer, whatever it is. You don't hire anybody who's illegal. Got plenty of people in the U.S. that need to work, that want to work. Sure, there's a lot of deadbeats or whatever, people that live on entitlement, but there's a lot of people that want a good job. And this guy was hired as a dishwasher, and they knew that. Yet they hired him anyway. That's when he met my nephew. Apparently, they may have fired him a couple of days later. Some sort of incident had happened. The next thing we know, within a month, this guy gets my nephew. He's held him apparently possibly hostage. The case is still pending. Can't give you all a lot of details. He's in Bexar County right now. But he got him, ended up killing and murdering Jared. He came back, held him in an apartment right by North Star Mall. And approximately roughly around 48 hours later, he came back in, poured gasoline all over Jared in the living room and set him on fire. Guy fled. There was witnesses, came back, but he got picked up. And the thing that I still can't, just like others before us that were speaking, I can't wrap my head around this. I know my wife and Jared's mother, Lori, Jared's twin brother, Jacob, and younger sister, Jordan. We can't wrap our heads around this because the guy was in ICE custody before, and he wasn't deported. The federal judge gave him a voluntary deportation. Told him, okay, well, the next month, you can freely and voluntarily go back to Mexico. And he was a Mexican citizen. But he didn't do that. 2 weeks later is when he killed Jared. This could have been prevented. The laws need to change. They must change. I lived in the Rio Grande Valley in the early 80s, and nothing's changed. All the presidents, the Republicans, the Democrats, nobody's working together. Nobody's changed the laws. The laws are weaker now than before. They're giving these people a reason to come in here illegally because they know the employers are going to hire. They're going to hire them illegally, and most of them, nothing's ever going to happen. Just as you said, I firmly believe in that law right there. It's got to be a felony against the employer to hire anybody who's illegal. You got to go against that.
I thought it used to be.
If you remove the incentive,
I think it is.
That's another massive piece of that puzzle.
Federally.
To stop this solution. The wall is huge. The wall must be built. That's not the issue there. But living down there in the Rio Grande Valley in the 80s, I couldn't believe it. Sometimes I eat breakfast and with a Border Patrol agent, and they're doing their job. They're busting their butt at 24 hours a day. And I see back then train tracks, railroad cars, tanker trucks, the lids open. I pulled my car over back then, and I couldn't believe it. People pouring out of there like fire ants. Here, that was in 84, 1984. And here we are, 2019. It's worse and worse and worse. All the presidents prior to this, all the Congress, nobody's doing anything about it. And I believe just taking one person at a time, whether it's even a coworker, small businessman on a cafe in a state building, and I talk to them. A lot of our good customers, and I believe in whether it's a family members taking one at a time, and this great group of people here that support this. We got to make a difference. We got to speak up, even if it's one at a time, or 50 or 100 or 10,000 or whatever it is. But the laws have got to change. I implore each and one of you and anybody who's listening, Governor Abbott, especially all the Texas legislation that's going on right now, you've got to change the laws. You must remove the incentive for them to come here illegally and work. Hey, legal immigration, have them vetted. If they can contribute to our country, I'm for that. I've got some grandparents that came from Italy and from Hungary. They did it. I got all the documentation. They all came through Ellis Island. They all did what they had to do. They learned English. And that's not happening today. Not happening at all. That's about all I got to say. I appreciate y'all.
I'd like to say that additionally, that met a good friend of mine, a good friend now, Dennis Bixby. He lives in Kansas. His daughter has been dead, I believe, 12 years now. The punishment for the guy driving a vehicle that kills his daughter on her way home, excited to tell her dad about her new job, the punishment for him killing that young lady was a $170 fine. No jail time. $170 fine. Dennis is yet to have real justice for his daughter. There are families all across this nation. Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee, you name it. There are families all over this nation that have lost. They're never coming back. I would like to ask, I asked Nancy Pelosi, she's yet to answer me. I would like to ask any politician that has proven with their record and with their words that they have no interest in actually fixing immigration. What would you do if that was your family member? What are you willing to do to protect your family? And think about this too. Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, any politician, whether you're Democrat or Republican, that you won't support immigration being properly fixed. Think about the statistics that I gave earlier. 33,000 incarcerated for killing. 299,000 crimes in Texas in just 8 years. Think about that. 103,000 illegals came into the southern border of the U.S. last month of March. We haven't seen the numbers for April. The odds are your families could get hurt too. You could unwillingly become a part of this unwanted group, angel families, angel members. If you don't enforce this, it's only numbers. It's a matter of time. Some more people are going to get hurt. More people are going to die. If you don't start enforcing the immigration laws and fix the borders and stop giving these people a free ride into the country, it's only a matter of time. And I ask you again, what are you willing to do to protect your families? If a wall works well enough around the governor's mansion of the state of Texas to protect the governor from anyone who would do him harm, that those walls aren't there to keep people in, they're there to keep people out, unwelcome people out. If you're not willing to protect the state of Texas, why don't you take down the walls of this mansion and allow yourself to receive the same sort of support that every one of us have? It's only fair. It's either that or use state funds, and instead of ignoring a law to stop people from driving illegally and killing people, why don't you use state funds and build houses around every angel family member's house? Why don't you give us protection? Because we already know the price. Every family member in Texas, U.S. citizen that is, whether you came here and immigrated legally or you're born here, why don't you start building walls around our homes? Protect us. Then you can let the illegals run free. But build walls around our homes. Provide us security. Protect us. Escort us wherever we go so that we're protected. Seems kind of crazy and a little bit outlandish to come up with that idea, right? Well, Governor Abbott, why won't you meet with me? Why won't you meet with us? Why won't you talk with us and actually do something about it? Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. You guys, I want to point something out that's pretty common in most of the stories you heard here today, and that's illegals have driver's license. And a lot of these deaths that we hear about would not have happened if they didn't have driver's license, which reminds me of sanctuary policies. Why is it that we have elected officials that serve Americans, taxpaying Americans, in office, yet they pass sanctuary policies, protect illegals from ICE, protect them from our laws, allow them to have driver's license, allow them to vote and have a voice in our elections, which have massive consequences leading to problems that we're talking about today. So I really wanted to point that out about the driver's license issue, and this is something that we should push every single state to stop allowing them to have driver's license, stop allowing them to vote, stand up for Americans, and punish these people. Punish them. We need justice, and then we need them out of our country. If they're going to commit crimes in our country, kill our American citizens, they need to be deported. And that's it, and never allowed back in. So I want to give the microphone over to a few more speakers. Ben, I'm going to have you come up and say a word, and then we'll pass it down a little bit, and then we're going to.
I'm going to keep going with it, but right there was the angel families. I'm going to have to get this up so I'm not looking straight down. That way I can read your guys' comments too, because I've been paying attention to your comments through most of it. Yes, it's a damn shame that there isn't thousands, 10,000s of people there. This is Austin. This is Sanctuary City, Austin. The same city that Governor Abbott lives in. And that's been part of the most disturbing thing, because if you guys don't know, I interviewed Chris Odette. Sabina Durden gave me his name after I interviewed her, and I believe it was August of last year. It was July or August. And with Sabina, she'd been all over TV, everywhere. A lot of people knew who Sabina Durden was, but she was given 30 seconds to 2 minutes to tell her story, and that wasn't sufficient. And so when Pineapple Princess introduced me to her, to Sabina, I told her that I'd love to have her on my show, and I'd let her talk as long as she wanted and tell her story. And that show, that scope went over 3 hours. It was right at a 3-hour show. And it showed what an amazing person Sabina is. And right then I knew in my mind that Sabina Durden was going to be a powerhouse of angel parents. She was going to be a de facto leader. Because a lot of people don't know I don't want to say infighting with that group, but let's just say that there's some people that don't have the same desires and goals as most angel parents, and they look to profit or make a brand or what have you. And Sabina, unfortunately, has told me these stories and she's had to extricate herself from several groups. So to my audience out there, AVIAC, AVIAC is the legit one. Sabina helped start it with other angel families. Sorry, I kind of got off, but I think it's important for you guys to understand a little bit of the backstory of angel parents and Chris Odette in particular. Sabina, after we did our interview, gives me Chris Odette's number. I talked to him, and he says, I've been trying to get my story out for 4 years, and no one will talk to me. That blew me away. So I brought him on, and his story is just doubly tragic, because 18 months prior to losing Krisha Odette, his wife died of breast cancer. I mean, so I won't lie, that one wrecked me inside. And it takes a lot to do these interviews. You guys have to know that. It takes a lot. A 2-minute interview, I'm sure, is easy, but when you get in depth, and for each of these angel parents, I've been trying to do things for them, like putting together a montage and a remembrance and an honoring of their loved one that I've been doing myself. And I take hours to do that, to try and put pictures to music, and it's emotionally wrecking. And this is why a lot of people just won't touch it. They just won't touch it. And I understand to one extent, but these are the stories that have to be told. That's why Governor Abbott's not down there standing side by side with that military vet who served tours in Afghanistan and beyond. This guy served his country honorably, and his fucking country has completely abandoned him. After the death of his 13-year-old daughter, it's fucking bullshit. Shame on you, Governor Abbott, and shame on you fake fucking politicians that sit there and tell us what you think we want to hear, but when push comes to shove, when it's time to do something, and Abbott has more control over anyone, there's more border miles in Texas than anywhere else. I'm sorry if I'm blowing your ears out. I'm not trying to. There's more border miles in Texas than anywhere else. He's talked the fucking game forever. He has a Republican president in there that's ready to get some shit done. He could declare a state of emergency now. So fuck you. If you won't fucking do it, Abbott, your ass is gonna be gone. I don't live in Texas, but I know a lot of Texans. And I know they won't put up with your shit, especially when these type stories get put out. Sorry, I didn't get to meet. I ain't sorry. Fuck that. Fuck them. Americans are goddamn dying every single fucking day. This is 5 families. 5 families out of tens of thousands. That's a low-end estimate, 33,000. I can guarantee it. It's not just the deaths of loved ones. These are fucking tragedies, and people are joining these lists every day. That's the worst of it. You got immigration, and you're wondering, should we be kind? Should we let these people in? And then your daughter gets killed. You don't think that way anymore. Then you are immediately on the other side. But it's bigger than just that, guys. I'm going to get real with you right now. I do construction. I got back into the construction game after being away from it for quite a long time. But in the Treasure Valley of Idaho right now, year over year, the Treasure Valley as a whole, and that encapsulates the city of Boise, Meridian, Nampa, Caldwell. It's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably about 350,000 people. But I think the next census is going to show that probably might has almost doubled. We are growing at a 41% clip. Coincidentally, rent, year over year, last year, raised 40%. When I came here 12 years ago, 3-bedroom house, $750 to $850, $900 for a 4-bedroom house. That's an $1,800 house all day long, every day right now. It is what it is. Okay? So we're in a boom. With that much construction, we are in a boom. Now, I was a kid during the Reagan years, 7 to 15. It was very impressionable time. But I remember businesses, uncles, family members. This is the time to strike while the iron's hot. This is the time to go after the American dream. This is when the work's going to be available. Make that business that could become generational for your family and finally achieve that. And I watched it being done. It was done. There's businesses today that they survived Obama that were started during that time period. Lots of them. That's the way it should be right now. Right fucking now in this country. You see the job numbers, you see the GDP, over 200,000 jobs in fucking April. Are you kidding me? 3.2% GDP. They cannot stop Trump's economy. Trickle-down economics should be happening right now. And in a lot of areas, it is. But guess what? In my field, it's not. The owner of the company I work for is right now trying to achieve the American dream. He's one of the hardest working sons of guns I've ever met in my life. He's motivated. 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, he went into business with his brother-in-law and his sister. He was the guy with the back and the brain. They were the one more on the business side of it. And after him building a business that did a siding business in carpentry, they did almost like $2 million in sales for this little 3-man team startup in the first year and a half. Things went sour. He wanted to extricate himself in the 1/3 of the business, and he got screwed royally. And that's all I'll say. Because nothing was in writing. It was family, blah, blah, blah. But he built this business into 2 very functional crews that as he walked away, they started subcontracting out their work. And now they're in with some pretty big builders. And they're subcontracting work and doing a couple of crews, and they're living the American dream that he it pretty much started for him. So this guy's 100% legit. When he came to me and said, I'm starting my own business, I need a right-hand man, I said, construction in December? No, this was October, late October into November, in McCall, Idaho, in the mountains, in the snow, and doing construction, and I hadn't done any form of construction in a minute. So I was like, fuck that. But I'm a broke dick. Hell yeah. And seeing that we could build a huge business, basically, very quickly. Within 5 years, I can see 4 crews running, me being a general manager of these crews, and golfing a lot, and letting other people make us money. You know, the American dream. The problem is that right now we are being paid less than he was 2 years ago when he started, almost 3 years ago, started doing this. Less per square foot. And why is that? The houses, the cheap fucking houses are selling right now for $250,000. The CBH homes, the Hubble homes, that's the low end of the deal. That's the cheapest materials. So it's obviously going to be the cheaper labors. Well, when you're getting in, you kind of have to start at the bottom. So basically, I work around Little Mexico all the fucking time. I am part of one of the few American crews. When I see an American crew, I'm like, what's up? Because normally what I hear, and I've even posted it on Twitter, a lot of my friends know that I walk in, I'll just start recording. All you hear is Mexican polka, the tuba, boom, 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 ay, 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 mariachi. This is what I hear all the time. No English. Well, after dealing with it for the last 3 months, I'm exploring the options of how these people can be removed. And we started the process yesterday. My boss, I finally talked him. I finally talked him into, trying to do something about it. And that fucker just called the governor's mansion. He went straight to the governor. I'm going to take a little more tact, and I'm going to call the House of Reps representative here. It used to be Raul Labrador. Russ Fulcher is the man. And from what I understand, Russ Fulcher is a good one. So I am going to try and talk with him. But this is the deal. This is how it works, okay? The wages are down. That's tough. But to run a business for a 4-man crew that my boss, plus himself, is trying to employ, his workers' compensation insurance is roughly $500 to $600 a week, period. For all the taxes, for unemployment insurance, for everything, roughly 40% of his money, I'm not talking wages, 40% of his money, right off the top, is going to the government. And that's the fucking way it is. The more guys you employ, the higher that number gets. Okay? 40% off the top than his wages. So he's living on a 20%. Because you got to pay some people something. And I firmly believe we're being underpaid. But it's not his fault. We've got plenty of work lined up. But there are 100,000 illegals in this area. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So ICE is an avenue that we're also looking at. I hope to become friends with my ICE guy, local ICE guy. I don't know what they'll basically do, but this is how it's hurting the local economy. It's hurting my boss. He's being legit. He's paying his taxes. We are doing a house right across the street. A crew of 12 Mexicans will show up with 30 ladders and couple 3-cut men, and they will do a 2-story house that would take us a 2-story house would take us 5 days if it's a big one, and they're doing it in 2. Okay, so that crew, I guarantee you 100%, they're not paying the workers' compensation insurance, the unemployment insurance for 12 guys, because then they would be in probably the $1,500 a week range. None of them speak English. Sometimes there's one, but here lately, nope. And it's directly keeping our wages down about 70 cents a square foot. So we bust our ass, and we don't get ahead to the point of where we can really expand. And we're watching these other crews take all the houses ahead of us, and they're finishing them just boom, boom. And it's shoddy work. One day I might end up getting in an altercation because I can't shut up. I can't fucking help it. That is the way I am. And when you go up to a bird box or something, and I know I won't talk carpentry, but when it's not level, and you can't even do your job because of their shit, it gets agitating. And when they come back to fix it, it's still wrong, then I have to be me, and I be level? We don't need no stinking level! Square? I like round! Sorry, that's not racist, that's fucking reality, and it's what I deal with every day. You notice I didn't say white, brown. No, American, non-fucking American. Legal, illegal. There's no race in that. I remember watching how beautiful it was for businesses being built in the economic boom. Right now, everyone is getting mucho money. The builders, the realtors. But the people that are doing the work, the building from the ground up, we're getting paid less than we were 2 years ago. And in the middle of a construction boom where I'm seeing houses sitting, when you talk about a 40% increase, that's like nothing I've ever seen. We basically had a nice, couple square mile path swatch, through Idaho that has just expanded in all directions fast. And it's money coming in. It's basically, guys, it's pushed me out of the city. I live on the outskirts of Meridian, and Meridian's on the outskirts of Boise. Boise has a population of right at 200,000. This is the 2010 census numbers now. I'm telling you, they're going to be a lot bigger. But you're talking 200,000 in Boise, 70 to 80,000 in Meridian, and then the next town is like 70,000 and then 40,000. All those numbers have gotten to where it's pushing us farther and farther to the outskirts. Now, secret to that is I like the outskirts. Matter of fact, I hate being in the city, and the more it gets clusterfucked, the more I got to get the fuck out. And glory be to Jesus, anyone who's followed my story, excuse me, they know that I'd gotten rid of all of our kids. Between me and April, we have 5 youngins. We gotten rid of all of them, and then my daughter came back from Florida after about a year and a half there, and she had a grandbaby in tow. My beautiful, awesome, intelligent grandson Grayson is fucking beyond unbelievable. You guys have seen him. He's in my intro, my pandemonium. You'll see a lot more of him. The boy's legit. So anyway, that story has concluded with Ashley about 2 weeks ago, moving out. The father of the child, as her and him have worked it out with 50-50 custody, and they're on the right path. Now I have to run. Now there's space here for someone else to come back and go, oh my God, we need help. No, shutting it down. We're running and trying to find an RV. It's a little dicey. I've been living in a hovel, a shithole, a really bad one. But when everything comes up like it is, as far as places are hard to come by and everybody's trying to find them, you kind of put up with more shit than you typically would. And that's exactly what I've done. when my landlord gets on to me about, being late on rent, and I tell her that my electrical bill was $1,225 over a span of 4 months, and I was paying $100 each of those months through a winter payment plan. And I ask her about the roof that's leaking terribly and has for a long time, the windows that they put in but never put trim around because they're supposed to replace the siding. The reason I have a $1,225 light bill, she asked me to fucking get the fuck out. Basically. Yeah, I got my 3-day notice Monday. Because obviously I'm late on rent and I'm not paying her right now. It's a situation where it's all kind of aligned itself to work out in my favor. Because now I get the opportunity to just get a recreational vehicle of about 23 to 25 feet and pull it to the outskirts and stack money and set us up, because Smooch ain't got no retirement plan, baby. Smooch ain't no grifter, baby. So I won't be putting any 501(c)(3)(b) ABCD on a fucking Patreon account so you can support my golden years. That's not how it works. What people don't realize that wants to be lazy and be entitled is living and achieving the American dream is one of the most fucking powerful things you can do in life for yourself personally. It's like looking life in the bitch or life in the eye and slapping it like and making it your bitch. Boy, that come out terribly. But you understand what I'm saying. It's exciting. I was pumped up when my buddy came at me because this guy could do it. He knows everything about carpentry. We can start siding, get framing crews, every kind of intricate detail work. That's the kind of homes I've basically done here with this guy. The low end scale with Hubble Homes and CBH, and then we're doing a 4,500 square foot freaking mansion that takes 2 weeks. That's how it's been, because this guy knows his shit, but they're paying him pennies. They're paying him 75 cents less per square foot on the cheaper stuff. And when you watch a crew come in that big, we did a house that took us 3 days with a short crew, and we had a crew that was more than double us come in and do a house in a day and a half right next to us. And it's just like, what can you do? There's usually one guy that speaks English, but the rest of them don't. Not to mention, I get to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. They're there. I leave at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the evening. They're there. If I come back at 7 o'clock in the evening, they're still there. They're working 12-hour days. Okay? Anybody legit is paying 4 hours of overtime for those 12-hour days. Overtime eats a boss's lunch. They hate it. Where can we compete as Americans with that? If we're legit, where can we compete? Now, then you got to go up the chain. Who's employing them? Those are the people. Chris said it. The other guy, Daniel, said it. You got to go after those people that are employing them, that are facilitating them. So I'm not just trying to go get Mexicans or Guatemalans or Hondurans deported. That's not what this game is for Smooch. I want to get them deported. Don't get me wrong. That's just not my only fucking motivation. I want to go after the people that are blatantly making it harder on my boss to achieve the American dream. Making it so much harder. And then the other resulting things that happen with having this many illegals in an area. They get driver's license or they get fake driver's license. I'm looking for RVs. Guess what I find? Guaranteed fake passports. Guaranteed fake IDs. They're the best thing ever. Yeah, I reported that shit. It's like there's a whole network facilitating this shit. And the people behind me here They're paying the ultimate price. Guys, this affects us in every single way of our life. And what is wrong with, as Americans, asking to be protected? What is wrong with being American and asking to be first? Nothing. We're guaranteed it in our fucking Constitution. So now it's time to make they're not leaders. It's time to vote out the people that are not representing the people the way they want to be represented. There's no trusting a fucking plan. Trust you better get off your ass and do something, because it's not going to happen any other fucking way. Period. Nothing gets done unless you bust ass to get it done. Period. That's why I'm busting ass to bust all you fucking grifters out there that are taking away from this, from the real messages. You're like annoying fucking gnats, but you're a pest. You're an infection that can get out of hand. You have to be fucking squashed so we can concentrate on the things that fucking count. Not letting our country fall into socialism. The protection of our country. How many politicians out there take that part of their oath seriously? I know one man that takes it more serious than any other, and we voted him in, and we're gonna fucking vote him in 2020. Rant's over. I'll get back to the show.
Here's from our Cowboys too.
I don't have much to add to what the angel parents said. This is why I do what I do, so that I don't have to become an angel father. I have many friends who've lost their children because of illegal immigration. I just want to point out something. So I'm from California, do a show called Frontline America. We're out there. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, he should be in prison for aiding and abetting this invasion.
Amen.
Any politician who puts illegal aliens over American citizens should be arrested and charged with treason. Their job is to uphold and defend the Constitution. They swore an oath. They raised their hand. Many here have also sworn that oath. Many here are veterans. There's a ride that's coming in later today for officers in this town. Many in this country have sworn an oath, and many uphold that oath. But if you do not, this message is directly to Gavin Newsom. If you do not, you should first be removed from office, and then you should be charged with treason. Once that starts happening, once these criminal politicians start being held accountable for their crimes, I guarantee you they will stop acting the way they're acting. The amount of money that they're getting, and we know some of them are getting paid off by the cartels. We know some of them are getting paid off by the businesses who are hiring the illegals. This problem is so deep. But just as one example, yesterday, Gavin Newsom, our governor, who, while I was in court a couple weeks ago for charges, I jumped. Gavin Newsom has a fence. It's smaller than that around the governor's mansion in California. I jumped that fence, mocking him because he actually moved from that house because he said the wall wasn't big enough. He said the wall wasn't big enough to protect his family, so we got arrested for trespassing. The same day that we were in court, he was in El Salvador, recruiting more illegals, the birthplace of MS-13.
Say what?
Yesterday, he put out a tweet saying President Trump manufactured this crisis, that all of this is a lie, that everything that we are out here doing, that we are out here talking about, that the lives behind me that have been lost, and the thousands of other American citizens' lives that have been lost, and the rapes and the molestations that we see, 100,000, they estimate 100,000 sexual assaults this year alone by people coming up here illegally.
Okay, I sorry to stop it. It's not typically what I like to do, but what the fuck? Gavin Newsom is in El Salvador? Now, I know governors take trips. And I'm sure recruiting. I'm sure it wasn't under the name of recruiting more illegals. But holy crap, when does it come to a point where your elected officials don't try and actively destroy your country. Well, California fucked up by electing that guy.
Legally. That's not even taking into consideration the Americans. That's not taking into consideration the identity theft and the jobs taken and all the rest of it. Gavin Newsom and other politicians like him have the nerve to say that this is a manufactured crisis. I believe the American people are waking up. I believe that there is a shift change happening in our country away from the lawlessness that we've had towards the rule of law.
America just showed up.
I know a lot of you have been fighting this issue for years. I got called on the radio show yesterday, day before yesterday. Guys said, I've been doing this for
Nice.
15 years. And we're at civil war. We tried everything. And we may be there. But I believe we are finally at a place where you can't hide the truth anymore. You can't say that this is a manufactured crisis. You can say it, but the American people are waking up to it. My message is simple. If you, whether you're an Angel family or not, if you love this country, if you support this country, if you love your family, if you fear God, it's time for you to get involved, to take a stand, to stand up for your country.
Amen. That's right.
God bless you guys. And it's an honor, it's a true honor to stand.
I just got to say that, you know, only in Texas. America.
Next to you. Chris, it's an honor, especially as somebody who served this country. It's a true honor. I can never repay, but it's just an honor to stand with you guys.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's why I do this.
Exactly. Governor Newsom.
It's not
That's what I
manufactured.
said. That was my response to
It's
him.
infuriating.
Governor Newsom. Was Kate Steinle's life, was her murder manufactured? Was Drew Rosenberg? Were any of these deaths manufactured? The thousands of American citizens, you have the nerve to say it's a manufactured crisis. Shame on you, and shame on the voters that elected you. It's time to wake up, America. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist. Well, maybe I used to be, but maybe it was manufactured. Manufactured by piss poor fucking laws and loopholes being passed by our elected officials on both sides. Manufactured by your ineptness. Do something about it.
Thank you, Ben. That's a strong message, and that's exactly what our government and governors need to hear. Anthony, can you come up and speak for us, please? You guys, this is Anthony from Border Network News. Spends a lot of time down in El Paso sharing lots of news everyone should see across the nation from the border.
Good afternoon, guys. I wish I'd be a little more enthusiastic about all this. However, hearing these stories, it just breaks my heart for these individuals. No parent should ever have to bury their child. The fact that we're going through this crisis and we have politicians in office supporting these illegals, this invasion, is gut-wrenching. The assault that we have on our borders is not going to stop unless we stop incentivizing these individuals from coming over. A wall will help, but at the end of the day, if we take a look at what the wall represents, to me personally, it's past failed policies. We would not need a wall if we were not incentivizing and giving all the freebies to all these illegals. We need to continue to fight, and we need to continue to support our president. When you have politicians like the guy that lives right behind us, and you have people under him upset at people from our own party calling them out, we're not zombies. We don't glorify our elected officials. We stand for what's right, and what's right is right. And we will not continue to encourage and continue to support politicians like this guy behind us that is not doing anything for the sovereignty of this nation. We need to continue to push hard. We need to stand with our brothers and sisters up here, show them support, and we need to push so that any one of you guys do not go through any unfortunate situation. Like I said, I apologize if I'm a little low on energy right now. It's just I had not heard this many people talk and give their testimony, and it's really gut-wrenching, like I said. So let's continue to push and show these people support and vote all of these politicians out of office. We need fresh, new blood in there. all these career-long politicians are not serving the people anymore. They're only lining up their pockets and generations of theirs to come. We need to continue to vote for new people into office, gut the rhinos and gut all the Democrats, and start voting conservative. Don't vote Republican, don't vote Democrat, vote conservative. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody out there, if you don't know, Glenn, New York City Guns, and I have gotten with Sabina, and we've set up some pretty kick-ass websites. Chris Odette story, he went basically, when I interviewed him, he went from my show to another one, and he actually, took it to himself to reach out to his Texas representative, met with him a couple times. Next thing you know, he's at the State of the Union address as the special guest. He went for the original. It was canceled. He thought it was over. He went back home, and then boom, he got a call. Hey, if you can make it, which he did. So it was pretty freaking awesome to see Chris Odette go from my show with a couple thousand viewers to actually getting a national voice. And now he's taking it to the governor's mansion, because he introduced legislation with that representative. He's also introduced legislation with his local representative at the state level. And they're not being paid attention. They're not even actually being put forth before the committee so they could even vote on it, which is bullshit, because I do believe they just voted to give illegals welfare while they were being held. Or you'll have to check out the reason. I'm sorry, the reason I cut in was to go to his website, www.justiceforchristia.com. That's the number 4, Justice for Christia, CHRISHIA.com. He will keep you up to date on all his ongoings. He's taken that website and he's ran with it, and it's gotten him a lot more exposure, and he's a great follow. This guy is a great patriot that did his duty. Several tours. 12-year vet. So if our government won't stand up for him, let's us stand up for him. He messages me all the time and says, I feel like I'm being shadow banned on Twitter. Please retweet. Please retweet my stuff. And I do. And I need you guys to retweet it. Put it on a list of people. Sabina Durden's another one. You can keep track of what's going on with Aviac through her. www.domhugs.org. My last Angel Parent interview, I did a recap with Sabina, but right before that was Mark Batten. So justiceformarkbatten.com. I will be doing more Angel Parent interviews. I've had several people reach out to me, several Angel Parents. Sabina has given me a few stories. I'm pretty sure that Chris is going to be giving me some of these folks right here as well. I was hoping to get our war with the grifters out of the way so I could 100% fully concentrate on our Trump 2020 re-election. It's going to be a push. It's going to be a fight to the finish. And these are the stories that are going to get it in people's minds that this is an invasion, that there's so much more at stake in Trump 2020 than there's ever been in any other election in any other history of time. They can quash the first 4 years of Trump by getting back into office. They can't kill everything. He's put some great judges in. But without 4 more years to continue, there's no chance that we fundamentally change our country back to where it is. That's right. All fronts. And everybody plays a part in that. Everybody does. Not everybody can do Angel Parent interviews or should. I've seen a few people that have brought Angel Parents on and they gave them 20 minutes and they talked more than they allowed the story to be told. Or they tried to use them as some kind of way to get clicks and views and pimp some products, which is fucking insane. But there's a lot of different fronts. And through this battle of the last few years, we've been able to find out where people's strong suits are. And sometimes it's a simple retweet and a share. Putting it from Twitter to Facebook or any other the other sites. And hopefully we've got new sites because the censorship of conservatives is beyond. If I had any followers, I'd been gone so long ago. I just don't have enough people that look at me, so I'm not a threat to them. Maybe one day. But getting these stories out are important. I know Mrs. Mendoza reached out to me. Her son was the Border Patrol agent, Brandon Mendoza. She's got a few people, including herself. So there's a lot of angel parents. I've said it before, I could do an angel parent interview a day, every single day, and not touch it. Not even touch all of these people. So I have to be selective with, and honestly, I look for the folks that haven't been able to tell their story at all. Because they're the ones that need to be heard, as far as I'm concerned. These are the people that I send to Sabina and Chris, and these people are finding their voice. Chris wasn't out doing stuff like this before he met Sabina. Sabina has inspired so many. God bless your mom. This is the first Rev Sabina, if you're listening. May your beautiful mother rest in peace. God bless everything you're doing and continue to do. You and Anthony are in my prayers. I love you. All right, I'll get back to this, guys. This is where we fight. Find where you can help, you know. And if you're looking to help directly, then I would look at Aviac, because that's Sabina is 100% solid, and she's doing this for the right reasons.
Thank you, Anthony. And pray for Anthony, you guys. He does a lot of work and goes into areas. So always pray for Anthony and his safety. Will, I'd like to ask you to come up and say, what, oh, yeah, you can come up. Yeah, come on. Well, I'll get Will Johnson next. I'm sorry, what's your name? Sandra Witten, you guys.
Hi, my name is Sandra Witten. I live in Laredo, Texas. I have for 10 years. My husband is a Navy veteran. I married him 17 years ago. 10 years ago, he became a Border Patrol agent. We live on the border. My home is a quarter of a mile from the river. Most nights, especially during the summer, we can sit on our back porch and hear gunshots from across the river. But don't worry, it's a manufactured crisis, right? I have 4 kids. I'm a mom. My oldest is 14 and my youngest is 6 months. We have a real crisis on our hands, friends. My husband comes home, sometimes with bloodied knuckles, sometimes scraped up, covered from cactus. But it's a manufactured crisis, right? The truth is it's not a manufactured crisis. The truth is that we have a real problem that's going on our borders. At the playground where my kids play football and play baseball, they have to do what they call whistle drills in case drugs are being ran through their football practices and their baseball practices. I have physically watched my kids' teams have to lay down on the ground because they saw traffic coming through and they weren't sure if it was going to cut up through their football field. But it's a manufactured crisis. So what I've seen with my own eyes is a lie. How about when was the last time you were there without your armed escort?
Yeah.
My kids don't get an armed escort going to and from school. My kids' school, the backyard is opened to Mexico. When they have their PE practices and their track meets and they have to run around the track, guess what? It runs right across that river. It goes right next to the riverbed. And then we have girls who are 10, 11, 12, 13 years old getting yelled at, asking if they want to party later. Tell them, don't worry, we'll come pick you up. This is a problem. This isn't a U.S. city. This summer, I took my kids back east, and as we're driving, I had somebody come up to me. I was wearing a Proud Border Patrol Wife t-shirt because I'm a very proud Border Patrol wife. And he walked up to me, and he was an older gentleman, and he was wearing a Vietnam ball cap, and he said, I want you to know that y'all are facing the same hate that we faced when we came back from Vietnam. And I am so sorry, but you need to know that there are proud Americans who pray for you guys every single day. And you tell your husband that he needs to keep fighting the good fight.
That's right.
I know so many men and women who put their lives on the line every single day. Our kids know. We don't know if Daddy's going to walk back through that door. They've seen us pacing if he's not answering his phone and he's 2 hours late coming home. We had family in town a couple weeks ago, and he called me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and said, I might be late getting home. I'm sorry. I just caught a truckload of 36 people. But there's no crisis, right? He got to not spend time with family that was in from out of town because there's no crisis. So you need to remember that as you're starting to look for your elected officials. We're a country that is founded on biblical principles and biblical values. And
That's right.
Give me just a moment here. I'd like to share one with you. This is in Isaiah in chapter 60. It's talking about the city of Zion. Okay? It says, no longer will violence be heard in your land, nor ruin or destruction within your borders. But you will call your walls salvation and your gates praise. Recently, we saw in the news. Hey, that's the word of God, man. You can't argue with that, can you?
Nope.
Beautiful.
Nope.
Recently, we saw in the news where the Border Patrol and ICE and DHS and the Coast Guard and the Department of Homeland Security, they did not get a paycheck for 6 weeks, and people were angry at President Trump. They were calling him out, right? Guess what? President Trump stayed in the White House. He was there. He wanted to
didn't leave.
come together to find a deal. I defended that man. Ooh, did I defend that man? Where was Pelosi?
Yep.
Puerto Rico, Hawaii. She was out just enjoying herself. Guess where my husband was who had vacation scheduled? He was at work. Because there's a crisis.
Right.
He wasn't guaranteed a paycheck if he was not at work during a government shutdown.
True patriots.
It is so important. I got to meet Chris, and I'm now going to sit down with all you amazing angel families. I got to meet some other angel families when they came down to Laredo, and I mean, my heart aches. We ask why our government is not doing their job. How can they not know? They see the statistics. Everybody loves a good statistic, don't they? But here's what the problem is, and I looked at our horses earlier today. They don't have their blinders on. But cowboys, what happens when you put blinders on a horse? They just go straight down the road. They don't see what's going on either side of the road, right? They can't see the distraction. He's not coming out. He's not going to listen to anything that we have to say. Our Democrats are not going to listen to anything that we have to say because they're too busy with their blinders on. When you watch little kids play and you're playing hide and go seek, even though they're in the middle of plain sight, what do? They stand there just like this. You can't see me. That's exactly what our current government officials are doing. I'd mentioned earlier that I've been a wife of a proud veteran and now a Border Patrol agent for 17 years. I've stood by his side and I have watched him fight the fight. I'm no longer watching. Mama took off her apron. And I'm running for Congress because we've got to fix this.
Wow.
My kids' future is on the line.
Yeah.
We teach our kids
all our kids and grandkids' future.
We teach our kids about the founding of our country. And it's so important because they don't do that in schools anymore because they might have to start thinking for themselves if they do that. Pretty certain that there was a government long ago that tried to do that to a bunch of patriots back in the 1700s. And you know what happened when they started trying to cut off their information? They rose up and they fought against them. Well, it's time for us to take off our blinders, America, and fight against this tyranny that we are facing on our borders.
Amen.
It is time to start enforcing the laws that we already have on the books and get the ignorance out of office. These stories are going to keep coming. And you're going to run out of Kleenexes. I know I have. because they're real. These are real life people. I look at my sons and now my daughter, and I can't imagine a world without them. I can't imagine them tragically being ripped out of my arms. The hurt, I can't even turn around and look at you guys, I'm so sorry. The hurt that they must go through every single day is just unbearable. If we start allowing Border Patrol and Customs and ICE and all of the other agencies that are trying to fight this war to do their jobs and stop kidding around and start deporting these people and stop allowing this idea that we're a free nation of just let's let everybody come in and have everything for free. If we allow them to do their jobs, that's going to end. And you know what's going to happen is that Americans' lives are going to get so much better. We're spending so much extra money from our taxes that keep increasing, hint, hint, state of Texas, that keep increasing, that could be going back to our own pockets. It could be going to send my kids to summer camps that they want to go to. I've got a future MLB pitcher over here. Summer camps aren't cheap. The thing is, guys, is that if we don't put an end to it, if we don't stop hiding in the shadows because we're afraid that we're going to upset somebody, then nothing's going to change. We tell our kids that it's time that we have to speak truth. We have to speak truth, and that's how we're going to change things. Thank you guys for coming out here. I do pray for you guys every single day, and I love you guys, and God bless Texas, and God bless America.
Thank you so much, Sandra. That was a
Wow.
powerful message, and we very much appreciate it.
Sandra, I
Will,
don't know
would
her
you like
last
to come
name,
up
but
and
she's
say a word
running.
for us?
How you doing? My name is Will Johnson. I run a blog called UnitesAmericaFirst.com, and I started doing it because I wanted to join in the fight that we all are fighting for, and it's this country. I had no idea that I would be standing here with angel parents because they lost their loved ones, because we have spineless Republicans.
Amen.
That won't stand up and do his job. Abbott is one of these spineless Republicans I'm constantly talking about when I do my videos. Anyone who says we need to not pay attention to what's happening to American lives in America and then have the audacity to hold a position over the American people, they should automatically be removed. There's no sense for them to be here.
Right.
And I know that the left, they keep saying there's no crisis, there's no crisis. Maybe there is no crisis. You know what? There's a war. It is a war. We are at war with evil in this country, in this world. And the Democrats, the leftists, and the spineless Republicans, they are at war with the American people. They are killing our children. They are killing our loved ones. They are killing our families. We shouldn't be having this conversation. We should be talking about what picnic we're going to or what sports game our children are going to. Who's getting married? These are the conversations we should be having, not the horrible conversations that we're having and hearing these stories. How can you hold back your tears? I get family members telling me I never cry, but you can't hold back these tears when you hear this. Things have got to change. This war is not going to stop. The liberal media, the Democrats, they are at war with the American people. And if we don't stand up, and if we don't get these spineless Republicans to start making a change, I don't know what's going to happen. People are going to get violent. Because when you lose everything, you have nothing else to lose, what do you think people are going to do? Maybe that's what they want. Maybe that's what they want. Because they're constantly pushing it. You know, I confronted Kevin De Leon and Kamala Harris. And I asked both of them, why are you putting illegals before the American people? Both of them were dumbfounded that I asked that question. They couldn't believe someone would ask them that question. But yet they're doing it. Okay, I'm going to make mine short. because I can't. I mean, there's no way I can express how I feel, and there's no way to know how they feel. There's no way to know. There's no way to know unless it happens to you. They didn't ask for it. None of us asked for this. None of us asked for this. And if we don't stop it, more is going to continue.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, Will.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Truth must be told.
Want a cowboy, or all the cowboys, or cowgirls, to come on up and talk for us here. Thank you guys for coming. This is a lot to do and come out.
Thanks for having us.
This is real America in front of the governor's mansion. Protected by walls, of course. Pleading to the governor to do something. And there's not a fucking Q shirt in the bunch.
The response we've gotten for being here has been great so far and warm welcome. Going back to the border wall, to me it's like America's having a big party right now, and the door's open, and everybody can come in free and reap all the benefits and have the party. But what happens when the money runs out? What happens when the free stuff isn't there anymore? Do they trash the place? Like using your neighbor's house to have a party. Do you leave it in shambles and just go back home? What happens after? The wall, to me the wall needs to be put up just like a wall around your house. You want to know who's coming to the party? We want them to come through the front door so we know who's there. Whether it be good people or bad people, I don't want the thug down the street coming to my house to my party. I don't want Mexico's thug. I don't want Central America's thug coming through the back door. We need a wall. We need to stop the invasion. I'm from New Mexico, and our governor's pulled off the National Guard off our border. And it's bad. They're coming in by the hundreds, by the thousands. I looked up some information on your Governor Abbott. I realized that his first campaign, he ran in support of the border. His second campaign, he didn't mention it. So what was the change of heart? Why didn't he stick with his first campaign and do what he said he was going to do? When it comes down to these angel families back here, they have the hardest thing to do. They relive the saddest part of their child's life. Oh, that's my oldest, and I cannot do what he's doing.
These families that you see behind us, they're the reason we came to Austin, Texas today. So let's give these guys a round of applause for being here. My name is Lance Hale. I'm from Ruidoso, New Mexico. These guys right here behind me, we're what we call a pack. We are patriotic American cowboys. We're not politicians, we're patriots. We love this country. We love what it stands for. We stand on several different platforms, and one of the platforms we stand on is the Constitution of the United States. When our politicians are elected into office, they take an oath of office that says that they will defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Friends, let me tell you, they are falling way short of what they're supposed to be doing. It's our job as American citizens, if they're not doing what we ask them to do, that we vote them out of there. We have got to get to the polls and vote. It is your God-given right as an American citizen to vote, and we've got to get out there and vote. Men and women have died on foreign on foreign shores and foreign lands defending the freedoms that we enjoy today. For us to not go out and vote, to me, is kind of a disgrace on our military because we're not voting. We've got to get out there and vote, guys. It's probably one of the most important things you can do as an American citizen. You know, and you might think, well, my one little vote's not going to count. Yes, it does. Kind of an analogy of that is, I'm not scared of one bee. You know, one bee flying around, I'm not scared of that. But a whole hive of bees, yeah, I'm scared of that. So if we band together like a hive of bees and let these politicians know that we're not going to take it anymore, it's going to make a difference. I'd kind of like to introduce our group right now. We got Kenny with him. He's from Carlsbad, New Mexico. We got Walker Akers, also known as Hanson. We got Sean Cummings. He's from Artesia, New Mexico. And the star of the show, all the way from Maryland, Spring Gap Farms, Tina Davis.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the daughter of Kenny Woodham, Kylan Woodham. And I'm Lance Hale, and we are PAC, Patriotic American Cowboys. We just want to thank you guys for having us here, and we really appreciate all the hospitality that you've shown us. And on that note, God bless America. Get out and vote.
Thank you, Lance. Chris, did you
Now that's
have
a
anything
PAC I
else you
can
wanted to
support.
add before we finish up and plan our gift delivery? Okay. We want to ask Governor Abbott to do his job. This is his state. He ran for governor. He was elected as the governor of the great state of Texas. And we want to ask Governor Abbott to do his job for the people, the legal citizens of the state of Texas, and the legal citizens of the United States of America. Our country needs protected. This should be a top priority issue for every single elected official that serves in any position. Your job is to serve America first. Back our president, back President Trump, build the wall, secure our border, protect Americans' lives, businesses, and homes, prosecute illegals, and get them out of our country. And I want to say a special thank you to all of you that came out today. Every single person here, you being here is just as important as us standing here talking with a microphone, because you're standing with us and you're standing with our angel families, and that means so, so much. I know you spent money. I know you spent time. I know it took great effort for many of you to come, and I want to thank you on behalf of them and myself and all of us. Thank you for coming out, and continue to come out. It's so, so important. Now, we are going to finish up today. We have a little project, and we have a special gift for the governor, and we just want to show in a very unique, special way how many people's children and loved ones have been killed due to illegal alien murder and illegal crime. So I ordered teddy bears, and this little bear right here is representing Krisha Odette, Chris's daughter. She's a beautiful little girl. I have two daughters, and she's very special, Chris. So we're gonna, each of these bears, I want to tell you guys, it's very difficult to find the statistics on how many Americans have been killed. It's very hard. There's all kinds of articles writing against President Trump's claim of 63,000. So you got your fact check articles, you got your Snopes articles, and all that stuff. But we were able to find a statistic, and the number that we know is correct is there are 33,000 illegals that are in jail for murder, and that's from Federal Bureau of Prisons from
Last 16
2010
years.
to 2016. So this is an accurate number, and this isn't.
6 years.
33,000 is not the number. It's far higher than this, but this is a number that we know is accurate for a time period of 6 years. And so each bear that we have here, each little bear, this Krisha bear right here represents 1,100 American lives. 1,100 people's children, someone's sister or brother, someone's spouse, someone's mother or father, and each little bear represents 1,100 Americans that have been killed for murder by people that don't belong in our country and broke our laws to be here. So we want to take these little bears. We're going to take them over here across the street to this big, beautiful border wall and fence. And believe me, I want Americans to have walls and fences. I am all for that wall and that fence. And I'm all for protection and security because I believe in that. And so we want to bring these little bears over there and set them up very nicely with our sign. I want you all to have an opportunity to take pictures because I want that picture shared everywhere. I want you to send it to your local news. I want you to send it to national news. I want you to post it on all your social media. I want you to send it to your friends that don't have social media. I want you to send it to your local elected officials that serve you where you live, your county officials, your city officials, your state officials. If you don't live in Texas, send it to your state governor, okay? And then also, I want you to a step further. I want you to send it to your congressmen and women. I want you to send it to them because they need to know how important this is to all of us. So I want you to get these pictures out there and so we can hopefully make a difference because we aren't being heard. These people right here are not being heard. And we want them to be heard. And we want all of us to be heard because we are the American citizens. We are. And that government right there, and the United States federal government works for us. Okay? We're the United States people, and that federal government is our creature, and it works for us. So let's remind them that and show them what's important to us, and it's American lives. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We're going to take some pictures, so we're going to spend a few minutes taking pictures, gathering, and getting ready, so we'll stop for a minute and let everybody take a break. Thank you. Well, we're going to make that.
All right. Well, excuse me just a second. Had to clear my throat. This is Cowboys for Trump. The patriotic American Cowboys. That's pretty heavy what we just watched, so I appreciate you guys. I know these videos ain't easy. Yeah, you know me, I'm either bashing grifters or I'm making you cry. I either make you laugh hysterically or I bring you the saddest stories that our country's dealing with right now. At least I hope I make you laugh. I know I make you cry because I make myself cry all the damn times because these are freaking things that make you cry. These are lives. I know the most important thing in my life is my family. I'm lucky, 2 blood kids, 3 step kids who are my kids. I have 5 children. I have 3 grandchildren already. I'm 45 years old. My 4th grandchild will be here. The due date is Thanksgiving of this year. So, 4 at 46. Beat that! I am going forth and populating the earth all by ourselves. We have to. People say that they shouldn't bring kids into this world. I say nay, now's the time to bring more. We need more kids to be woke. Let the liberals not have kids. I'm okay with that for now. To be honest. I'm just being honest. But as conservatives, it's time to have some children. it's the costs hit us so much. You know, my boss didn't, you know, he's a frustrated business owner. He's also a friend. I don't know if I mentioned that. This guy I've been friends with for a decade. One of the most quality people I know. And he's seeing it. Of course, he's heard me bitch about it, but he's seeing it firsthand. So when I talk to Mr. Fulcher, which I hope to do this weekend, or at least I'm going to talk to the secretary. And I'll probably have to wait till Monday, but I'm going to let him know this is costing so many, not just I mean, the biggest cost is lives being affected and sacrificed. That's the biggest cost. But it hits us in every area of our economy. And right now, when you've got people paying workers' comp insurance on 2 guys, and they're bringing 10 to the job, and they're not paying them overtime, even though they're working them 12 hours a day, you can't compete with that. You can't compete with that. I know personally, talking to builders and stuff around here who are delivering the material to the job sites, that are saying flat out the prices are down because you've got, you know, several factions that have 40 to 50 guys that go in and just eat up these neighborhoods. They just eat them up. And they can do them fast. And they're being sold as fast as they're being built right now, guys. That's the biggest thing. That's why rent's gone up so much. That's why there's so much growth. People are fleeing California in droves. They say 60 families a week are moving to the Treasure Valley. That's staggering to me. I need to check that stat, but that's what I'm hearing from the builders and the suppliers when you go to a paint store and you can't even get a frickin' roller. It's the way it is. So we have to fight it on all ends. I mean, if you can't get motivated to fight for an angel family, then you're just not gonna be motivated to fight for anything. But I see it in my day-to-day, where right now I should be setting myself up for my golden years, which I can do. Me and my lady, we don't need a whole lot. And this is the time to do it. It's why I got back into construction at this age. And I will outwork every one of these millennial fucks. Easily. Easily outwork them. Never seen it. Hey, try teaching somebody to read a tape measure that's been taught Common Core math. Huh? The struggle is real, man. You have no idea the kind of shit that you have to deal with on a day-to-day unless you do it. And I'm not saying people in my audience don't. There's a lot of people that do a lot of different damn things. I happen to be in construction. There's several more that are. There's several more in this group that understand that or have seen the rise of companies built by Americans. I'm talking the American dream. Going out on your own and building something that is useful and setting your family up to live comfortably. Most people I know, they don't want riches. Greedy ones, maybe. They just want to be comfortable. They want to be able to freaking hop on a plane and go see the fam in New York City, Southern California, Georgia, Texas. Those things don't cost tremendous amounts of money. But I tell you what, that you get to have lifetime experiences when you've got enough cash flow to keep you not worried. And that you see that directly affected every single day. When the boss doesn't pay you enough because, and he wants to, but he can't compete with 40% of the jobs being, or 40% of the money being gone right off the top. And that's not including wages. So you're doing it legit. You're paying the government a lot. So that's where the local economy thinks it's doing great. All these new people are coming in. They're making money. Rent's up 40%. Prices of homes are way the hell up. But they should be also profiting off of the freaking companies that are doing it legit and paying their taxes. We're the only ones doing it. We can't compete when they don't have to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars if they did it legit. Or when there's two guys, Jorge and Jesus, that got papers, and they're all named Jorge and Jesus. Or when you got local people on fucking Craigslist selling them the best fake IDs you can get. You know, when I worked in the warehouse, the gravy job, when I met this fam, was making about $50K a year, had never come close to making anything close to that. I lived the American dream, and most of it was during Obama, but had nothing to do with Obama. It had to do with a very smart business owner that created a need in an online or seen a need, created an online business, and we did well. And it directly, as far as I'm concerned, we were doing God's work. He packaged and sold Mitragina speciosa. Most people know it as kratom. Kratom's a leaf off a tree in Southeast Asia that, believe it or not, God put qualities in it that if you just crushed it and put it in a tea, like most cultures have done with herbal shit for fucking ever, it hits 17 different receptors in your brain, including an opiate blocker, which a lot of people use kratom to get off of their opiate addictions. Something all natural. Go wonder that the FDA went after it. My boss went from building an online business into a big one where he had 9 employees, where he had to go back down, lay us all off. I was last to go. It was just him and his brother and his stepson left. And they've barely kept afloat because the FDA is doing things the wrong way. They can't win in court. The kratom lobby's huge. They talked about a 4 or 5 year battle. So they started doing nefarious things like just seizing kratom. Or maybe in some instances even tainting kratom. And it's sad because that's the game. When you start affecting the big money bottom line of industry. And big pharma and opiate addiction's big industry. And we'll just sell you something that if you happen to overdose on it, yeah, just give them this shot. It'll wake them right up like nothing ever happened. No problem. That's not how you deal with the problem. You stop the abuse and then you don't need the shot. But that's a damn different show for a different time, right? There's so many things that we need, common sense in. My favorite catchphrase that I came up with a long time ago, it's been on my Facebook page for 2, maybe 3 years now, is make sense common again. The only way we can make it common again, I guess, is just keep beating it into people's heads. We are in a war, folks. There's no doubt about it. We are in a war for our country. And we're not taking up arms in this war right now. Our arms is through where we can affect change. Getting messages out that are being stifled is a big way as conservatives we can all pitch in. As freedom-loving Americans, that's our first duty, is to try and stop these messages from being stifled and vote. Our first duty beyond is to vote. And you see, this all starts at the local level. So we have to vote not just in national elections and in midterms. We have to vote in every freaking time they open the ballot box for us. We have to be looking at what they're doing because they're directly affecting us in every area. My God, in some places the regulations where you can't collect rainwater, you can't do anything that would even remotely allow you to be I don't want to say off the grid, but just less dependent on the system. I will be less dependent on the system just because I like to be able to stay in the woods. And anybody knows me the last 2 years, on the weekends, I really wasn't available. Not in the summertime. During the week, I fight the good fight, but then I have to unplug. Right now, we've got 2 great patriots that have been fighting a hell of a battle. Take that off. That's better. I like that. There we go. Let me join you, Mr. President. We've got a couple patriots that have decided that it's time for them to take a step back for a minute. And that's what I do every freaking weekend, pretty much from the spring through the late fall. There'll be a few weekends I'm available, and in evenings I'll be available, but I try and unplug and get the hell away, because this political battle that we wage, the fighting of the grifters, the fighting of the liberal narrative, and just watching our freedoms being fucking stolen. Watching the progressives sit there with their huge double standard and treat our president like dog shit, while heaven forbid if you take a look in their direction on anything they're doing. Guys, it can be overwhelming. That's better. It can make you weary. So I fully recommend, 100% fully recommend, taking breaks. Real Doug Stewart's been fighting a pretty hard battle. Doug, that's one hell of a dude right there. Got to know him personally. And I'm telling you, that dude is one unbelievably solid fucking patriot. And he deactivated his account yesterday. And nobody needs to... I've got my sources. And they're not dilly fucking drops. Nobody's got to worry about Doug. He's just deactivating for a little bit, checking out, getting his mind right. He's put forth so many things into motion that he can do that. He fought it when it was just him fighting the LARP and other bad spots and grifterisms around the net. There's been a coalescing, and I think that Doug was the nexus. I don't think it was a coalescing around the MAGA coalition. I think the MAGA coalition and several others coalesced around Doug. That's my own personal opinion. But that unit as a team is fucking unstoppable. And it has been. And it has done infinite damage to our enemies. The analytics prove it, guys. If you want to know the analytics, look at what Ann Vandersqueer, Steele, Whore, Van Cunt. There's so many names for her. Succubus Anon, but now my favorite is hashtag disavowed Anon. Okay. When they attacked the MAGA coalition, and she bragged about it on the Patriot Soapbox, I believe, she mentioned that they were getting like 685,000 views or hits a day on Q-related shit. All right? That number immediately started going down when Doug and others started applying pressure. I think she had inflated it. I think it was already coming down. But when everyone came together and started hitting them from all levels, you watched it 383,000, 350,000, going down to finally when they were at less than 200,000. Now, this is documented. I've already seen the numbers. It's out there. When they were less than 200,000 hits, they cut off their little clicker, and now you can't see where it's at. So they basically dropped, 60, almost 70% in the 4, 5, 6 weeks of this intense battle. Maybe 2 months. Where they turned off the clicker. So we've made a huge fucking difference. And I, for one, thank Doug Stewart. And I, for one, say, get the hell out of Dodge for a bit, dude. Sit back and relax. There is a huge list of people in there to thank. But Doug deactivated for a bit. And so did Babylonian Cowboy. I'm proud to say I've gotten to know him a little bit as well. Babylonian Cowboy is a solid patriot. You guys, relax. All right? The big battle is coming. We know 2020's going to be a hell of a battle. And we know especially from about June to November. That period of time is going to be more intense, and we're going to see more crazy shit than ever before. We're winning the Q battle. I've already told you, I feel the death blow has been inserted. It's been inserted. It's just a matter of the grift breathing its last death gargle, and that's coming. But our greater goal is Trump 2020, period. Bottom line. And we're going to be going through one hell of a battle. Because Trump 2020 is going to help with the other battles. In the meantime, we have to fight these free speech battles. We have to fight these Second Amendment battles. We have to stand against a narrative. But if anyone needs to check out for a bit, don't feel bad about that. I plan on being gone most weekends. I'm looking right now, as we speak, for an RV to get out of this hovel that I live in, get into a recreational vehicle where my bills will go from here to here. Just me and April? Man, things are looking good. Things are looking really good on that end. Problem is there's not a lot of space. So I might just be hanging out in the woods where I love to be anyway, on the outskirts, and popping in for work. So life has a funny way of changing fast. So I recommend to all of us, don't feel bad about it. Don't freak out because you don't see Doug. Doug has orchestrated one of the greatest, has helped orchestrate one of the greatest coming togethers of personalities that all want to MAGA, but we're doing things in their own places, or maybe even little wars here and there amongst themselves. And it's just a start. So I know I ranted again. I don't get the opportunity much, I guess, anymore to rant. I hadn't been on much this week. I'm going to get on right after this. I need to separate the shows. And I'm going to do something fun. And I'm going to do something about 95% non-political. And it's going to be like the kid in me. If you've seen my intro, you see that I like airplanes and trains and space. So I'm going to end this broadcast. If you guys want to catch the rest of the angel parent gathering, basically in front of Governor Abbott's mansion, it is at let me get you the exact one, guys, because it's still got a live stream going. Unite America First. I've already subscribed to the channel. Chris Odette did a great job. I know from there, I think it was maybe they were going to march through the streets or something. I'm not real sure. I think I got the most important stuff right there. And what I planned to do was to check out a little bit today from the political battle. That was my plan, but then I seen Chris and what he was doing in Austin, and that was more important. So thank everybody for coming in, watching that, because that was truth, baby, and truth bombs. The next show will be Smooch Panda and Blue Origin go into space. Space, baby. Space. Space Force. Call it what you want. The space program that everyone on the left mocks has been doing some work. And y'all about to find out. I appreciate everybody coming on to the show. Absolutely. If you give me a second, I think I'll just do something impromptu. Like I said, when I did not set up this show today at all. So I appreciate you guys coming in. Appreciate you taking part. And I need to do something in tribute to these people fighting this fight. So if you'll give me a second, I will do that. In the meantime, I will play a fantastic patriotic song. Excuse me. Holy crap. I hope you've been able to hear me through part of this. How long was I muted? I look over and see the dreaded mute button. No! My best rant ever missed again. Okay, 30 seconds. You guys didn't miss nothing. Anyway, I'm going to play the Queen Athene and her tribute to this great president and what he's doing for our country. As soon as I can read fast enough to find it. As you can see at Smooch Panda YouTube channel, there's lots of videos. You can also check out my new website, www.smoochpanda.com. I need to upload some of the newer content. There it is. A lot of people, we've been extremely busy trying to find a place. But while I try and pull up a tribute, my ending song, I'm going to play Queen. Maybe. What's a Smooch Panda show without a little bit of buffer? There we go.
At last, Donald Trump has come along. The Obama days are over, and life is like a song. Sky to see, sun's blue. The communist days are over, and the recession is through. We found the leader we could look up to, a president to call our own. God sent us a champion that we could tweet to, that fought for us like we're his own. De-escalator went to down, yeah. And there and then this spell was cast, and here we are in the United States of America, baby. We're great again at last.
Thanks for stopping in, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in a few minutes with a little funner topic, but this is why a lot of us fight right here. God bless the angel parents.